Physical Dokkan Festival Raditz is an example of a character who was famous for all of the wrong reasons. He was not very good, he released at a poor time, his banner wasn't great, the teams that he was on was not good, he did not perform up to standard, the characters that released before him were not very good, just did not have much going for him, and was really just an example of everything wrong with a Dokkan Festival release. So, this kind of garnered him a bit of a reputation within the Dokkan community for being infamous, being controversial, and today I just wanted to take a look and explain some of the other characters in this game who came out who might have been good, but came with a bit of controversy and ended up being infamous. So, sit back, grab a snack, relax, all of that fun stuff, and join me as today we explain every controversial Dokkan unit in however many minutes it takes. One of the most well-known and controversial incidents in Dokkan history would definitely be the physical Omega Shenron and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta incident, specifically on the global version. You guys can see I'm playing on the Japanese edition of the game, but everything is still going to kind of mix and match the same into what I am talking about. So, if you guys did not play at the time, this was a download celebration to celebrate a milestone within the game, and with this came the release of GT Omega Shenron as well as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, two of the most well-known protagonists and antagonists within Dragon Ball, right? We all love Omega, we all love Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, so obviously this would have been a slam dunk for the developers, right? Well, it came with a bit of a caveat. If you guys do not know, at the time of release for Gogeta and Omega, only on the JP version did they have the category system for leader skills. And with these leader skills, you can see the Japanese text in the brackets. This was the category that each of the characters, would have buffed. So with that, you would have seen a 170% buff to certain characters on the Japanese version and stuff like that. So it all kind of worked out. And this is typically what a release in the game would look like. You'd have the really good leader skill for the character, and this would make them one of the best characters. However, on the English or global version of the game, this is not exactly how it worked. They did release at the same time because it was a same-time celebration, but it did leave us in a bit of a spot where the characters were not playing nearly to the level that they were on the Japanese version. Why, you might be asking? It is because they did not have leader skills. So the infamous text that they said here, instead of it being the Saga 170% up with the extra key, it just said 3 words, and those 3 words were "to be released." So this led to a lot of problems and obviously a lot of backlash from the community, as this is simply just not an acceptable standard for how same-time celebration should go, right? The whole idea is to unite the community together and kind of bring everybody in doing the same thing at the same time. The games were not always synced like they are now. Things would come out on JP first, then on the global version later. And the fact that this was a JP for a same-time release and JP still had the better versions, it's like they might as well have not done the celebration at the same time at all. So this led to a lot of people being upset, and it's still one of the most famous Dokkan incidents to this day. To be released definitely made them controversial, but at least the characters were good. In TUR Dokkan Festival, Goku Black that transforms into Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black is another example of a character who was marred with controversy throughout his tenure on the game, right? This was something that is an interesting case, right? Where you think about a character who's, at the time, especially of release, I believe this guy came out in late 2018 with JP and then 2019 with Global. He was, a fan favorite, right? Who doesn't love Goku Black? Rose Goku Black, definitely one of the cooler characters to debut from Dragon Ball Super. Now, when we have this release here with this Goku Black, specifically, we are going to be focusing on the Extreme Z Awakening portion of this character. This was during the Worldwide Download Celebration 2023, aka the late summer, just sort of just like a celebration for how many people have downloaded the game, right? This is up there on par with the anniversary and stuff like that in terms of being a major celebration. 4 new LRs, lots of EZAs, lots of new events, lots of fun celebration stuff, lots of extra stones, one of the biggest periods of the game during the year. And this was one of the EZAs, one of the selling points of the celebration, where it was like, you're going to be able to get this guy and he's finally going to EZA. And then when he came out, he was nowhere near good enough. We had campaigns like Buff Goku Black on Twitter, right? Just people were not happy. And this is an example of a character that people were waiting a very long time for, and they were not rewarded for their patience, as EZA was just not good enough really in any form of content. When he came out, he was decent in the Goku event, which was a long-form sort of fight where you'd have a lot of turns and you do all types of fun stuff in there, and he was a medium stacker, so that did help. But overall, this EZA was nowhere near good enough. His transformation condition wasn't great, and even with that, he was just always underwhelming, and this was kind of an underlying theme here for Goku Black characters in specific. They always just seem to be underwhelming in Dokkan for the most part, and this guy was definitely no exception. Physical LR Ultimate Gohan will definitely mark one of the darker days in Dokkan in terms of reveals. Now, this guy, very good character when he came out, but there was one major issue with him that a lot of players were not able to look past and even affected future conditions for this character in terms of character biases and stuff like that. This physical Ultimate Gohan, as you guys can see in the back when you're watching this art on the screen, has Beast Gohan in the art. This was advertised as a superhero celebration. There was a poster put up that had Orange Piccolo next to Beast Gohan, and it was marketed that way, where it was like, we're going to get Beast Gohan and Dokkan alongside Orange Piccolo. The superhero hype was definitely up there, considering with the movie delay, we were waiting for a very long time for there to be like the big moments, right? It was always sort of like talking about with speculation when we had like the superhero movie, right? We were talking about things like, Superhero Gohan is on the way, right? The big moments from Superhero are still not in the game. They need to be represented. And then we finally got a taste of it, right? A promotional poster with Beast Gohan next to Orange Piccolo. And we felt that that was going to be where he was at. It was going to be super exciting. You know, that reveal was up there on par with the anniversary, right? Like, they're finally going to release Beast Gohan. We're going to get the animations. We're going to get all of that fun stuff. And lo and behold, it turned out, unfortunately, to be the case that Beast Gohan, akin to kind of how they wanted to represent it in the movie, was just an active skill where he does the special beam cannon, and that is it. So you just play as Ultimate Gohan while you are not able to play as Beast Gohan, and this led to a lot of controversy and a lot of people being upset, considering the fact that a lot of people wanted to play as Beast Gohan, obviously, and the fact that Dragon Ball Legends had Beast Gohan in the game as an LF for multiple months at this point. It just led to a lot of people being upset because we wanted to play as Beast Gohan and we were unable to. So he was able to garner nicknames like Beastless Gohan and Least Gohan from this. Now, unfortunately, this timeline does have a good ending. Beast Gohan ended up being playable in one of the best releases in the game's history in early 2024, so about a year later, but definitely could have been a bit of a better reputation for this LR Ultimate Gohan if they would have released him as Beast Gohan right away. 10th year AGL Super Gogeta brought forth something that was unintended by the devs and did lead to a bit of a controversy with the way that the character was designed. Now, there was a bug with this character where essentially you could keep flipping the reverse exchange back and forth, and a separate proc would continue to go for this Goku, where you'd be able to essentially stack up unlimited super attacks. And this bug obviously would lead to you being able to really clear anything. There's a short out there my friend Minato did where he's he took down a 1 billion HP boss just using the literally unlimited, unrelenting barrage of kicks that this Super Saiyan Goku does here. It was just really dumb, right? It was just an unintended bug by the developers, and unfortunately, it did get patched pretty quick for those who were just trying to clear events and stuff like that. But, this guy, at least he was very good, right? Fusing Super Gogeta, always fun. But it did bring forth a bit of a bug with the fact that you had unlimited super attacks, and that was obviously not intended by the devs, and it really kind of made a lot of content very easy because this was extremely easy to cheese, and definitely not what the devs were intending, but at least it was fixed relatively quickly. This one might fly under the radar for some of you who are experienced with the game, but the LR Ginyu Force was actually one of the worst releases in Dokkan history in terms of how they came out on global. Now, could this character be impressive? Absolutely. But the situation that they put them in on global was absolutely horrendous to the point where they literally had no teams. So they released this LR intended to work with a sort of celebration with the Dokkan Festival Totpa celebration that happened on JP, but that celebration had yet to have happened. So they just threw this guy out in a random banner, and he just did not work with anybody. He did not have any teams, and they just said, here, summon on this legendary summon banner, which people really shouldn't be doing anyway. And you get rewarded if you pull this character with a character or a unit that literally has 0 teams, right? They had categories, but none of them were good, and you could not use this character anywhere. So they promoted a new release with nowhere to use them, and everything that was on the that they needed was still yet to be in the game. Because of the lack of a sync at this period, we knew it was on the way, but they did not come out yet. So a lot of things with this character could look impressive, but I think that there was some controversy just because of the fact that they literally just released with nobody, right? So not a good release. Definitely one that will be hopefully not repeated in the future, but who knows. Okay, next up I have STR UI Goku. Now with STR UI Goku, it's going to be a little bit of a different case with a character like this. Now, his release on both versions was fine. Global players were a little bit upset because, this was a global first character, but he came out on JP very quickly after. It was like a couple weeks, right? But that's not the controversy. The controversy that happened with this character was during New Year's of 2021. Now, on this sort of thing, we had a New Year step up. If you guys don't know, during New Year's, there is a step up sort of summon that would give a lot of Dokkan Festival exclusive characters and then guaranteed LRs. And you'd be able to do 3 rounds of these summons, get a lot of characters that you could potentially be missing, get some dupes for some units that you have, and just a very valuable banner, right? Players that needed extra characters, this would be something that they want to pull on. Now, this banner, the front face of it was the SSR of this character, right? Super Saiyan God Goku. If we go over here, this was who was on the advertisement for the banner, front and center. So obviously a lot of players were probably going to summon on this in order to obtain UI Goku. Now, there was a coding error where the unit ID or the character ID for the SSRs ended up not being the one for UI Goku, but the one for Tech Dragon Fist Goku. So a player who would have pulled Dragon Fist Goku during that actually ended up pulling, or should have ended up pulling UI Goku if the kind of coding went that way, right? It's a little bit hard to explain the back end like that, but you get the idea. Where someone who was summoning for UI Goku was summoning on that knowing, or not even knowing, that they literally could not pull this character. So again, usually when there's banner issues like that, it's a very big deal, and the devs have to take it seriously. So this ended up being a bit of a W for players because everyone got full refunds on this that summoned on the global version, and they got to do another rotation on it if they so pleased, right? So if you did all 600 stones that you could do, you got 600 stones back and you could spend them and keep all the characters that you had before. So overall, a big W, but definitely a bit of an issue. It was a bit of a crazy time. So UI Goku brought forward with him some fun moments, if you will. Last but not least, I have the OG face of the game, STR Super Gogeta, from the 1-year anniversary. Now, again, we are going back to the global version on this one. And if you guys don't know, despite this release being the best character in the game and arguably the best of all time in terms of relativity to the rest of the game, this STR Gogeta brought with him a bit of an issue. And if you guys don't know, the devs on global actually went in and lowered the SSR rate on these banners, specifically to make it harder to pull this STR Gogeta because they knew everybody wanted him. Now, this is before rates were as public. You know, gacha games have went through an evolution over the last decade. And this right here, it just like now, like we could see everything we need to see, right? You click on this, it's going to show you like a terms of agreement. It wasn't that one. I'm all over the place. But if you press this right here, you could see all of the percentages and the rates and all of that fun stuff in here on what you potentially could get. So all of this information is public. And the back end for STR Gogeta was changed on global, again, without getting into all of the specifics and stuff like that. Just know that the sort of thing that you need to take away from it was that it was harder to pull this character, and it was intentionally and maliciously done by the global devs. This, I think, could really lead to being a quitting point for a lot of players and really kind of mark a negative time for the game, despite it being the first anniversary. And players who potentially wanted the hype release for Gogeta were getting the short end of the stick of the fact that the best character in the game that you needed to have or you started a new account was actually harder to pull. So there you guys go, 13 minutes of some of the most infamous and controversial Dokkan characters. If you want to see more of this or a part 2, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below, and we could definitely do some more. I think saving them all for multiple videos could be some more fun. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what type of list like this you want to see in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.